What's going on in the hair addition world? Well, if you were viewing our previous episode, you heard me share with you a global view of what was going on as you, the professional in the hair replacement, the hair extension, the hair addition world. But now I'm going to have you listen to some of the best experts in the world. I've asked personal favors for these very busy people and those people that are able to really give us an insight behind the scenes. I have a legacy in his own lifetime, which is Lance. And I think you already know that Centofanti is known all over the country, all over the world. And I'm not going to waste time in giving you all of the details of his 50 years of incredible resume, because his knowledge will give you more value than a list of what he's accomplished. So let me welcome my dear friend, and as I said, a legacy in the hair replacement industry. Lance, how are you, my friend?
Thank you, Jeffrey. What a pleasure it is to join you this morning. I consider it an honor. We've known each other a long time. And other than my, of course, friendship with you and total respect of you as a professional, to be able to join you on a platform that's dedicated to what I consider the most important part of what we get to do as mentors, Jeffrey. Mm-hmm. And that is educate the beauty makers to help them go to a better place.
Correct. I feel the same way, very much so, because education, as we're going to talk about, is probably our strongest pillar for right now getting through this challenging time and then getting into the very best of times that we have in front of us, which we both believe is ahead. Doesn't look like that in the storm, but it is at this point showing some sunshine and some silver lining, and we're going to talk about that. So let's start right there.
Education, in my opinion, if someone said to me after 5 decades of being in this industry, what's been the most emphatic point of reference for any type of success? And it's education. I would have to say that to frame that without learning and without new knowledge, the only thing we get to do is try harder and watch it not work faster.
Well, that's a very good statement, and that's why we are doing this program, because the beauty industry, but beyond the beauty industry, let's say the advanced level of hair replacement and extensions and wigs and hair pieces has just come off the rails because of what's happened, because of pandemic, because of supplies and all the other things. As a consultant to the industry, as an educator, a developer of products, what's happening in a global level to the hair manufacturing in this industry?
Just about every other industry. Once COVID hit, and there was all these problems with just about any type of business you can imagine, ours was even magnified more so. First of all, if you think about it, we're in the business where we're one of the few people licensed to actually touch people. So it created a problem of even being able to be in our atmosphere, to be in our world. It made that very difficult. But beyond that, the suppliers, the manufacturers overseas, by the way, whether that be China or Korea or wherever it was, they suffered the same dilemma. It's not that they got a pass from that. So enormous challenges across the board in delivery, in product, in availability of product. As you know, disruptions in getting the product. In Asia, China, Korea, they lost a major part of their staffing. And these aren't just people that come in, not that this is not significant in a business, but they don't work in an office. They're out there actually ventilating our product. And they have the years of expertise to make that product look like our clients and our retailers expect. Mm-hmm. With that missing, they had to bring in new people in some cases, and that's a learning process. So everything down the chain. I think it's a tsunami of problems in our industry. And the good news is it's gotten a little better. The other realistic news is it's going to be a while before it's back to what we say is normal. Mm-hmm. So I guess during this conversation, it reminds me of one thing, however. All crises have one thing in common, Jeffrey. Mm-hmm. They end. So now is the time during this disruption. What is it that we do to innovate and come up with new ideas and possibly new products and new delivery systems so that our industry can flourish after this event is over. It's going to end. That's the good news. What we do in the meantime is going to determine our success or not.
And I want to tap into that because you're right on the mainstream of what I want to get to the hair replacement specialist is the fact that we're not going back to normal. There is no going back to what it was like 3 or 4 years ago or 5 years ago. And everything is going to be changed. But those that want to thrive and those that want to really come out of this with a greater success, as you said, all these type of issues have taken in history and given the opportunity to advance those people that take that moment and look beyond the past and the present and look into the future. And we're going to hit to that. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but I want the listening audience to know we're going to help them create, for all of us, a new model in the hair replacement, hair management, hair loss management industry, because it is a growing, thriving business itself on the demand. But the supply has become more challenged. And I think that that's going to give us that are listening and those that are really going to put to practice a new model, a really incredible platform to bounce into the new, let's say, model, the new norm at that point. Do you agree with that?
100% agree with that. Jeffrey, my dad used to say when I had my salons, we used to talk, and my dad was my business manager. We share ideas every day. And one of the things he said to me, I never forgot, he says, son, remember this, no problems, no business, no challenges, no solutions. Things always come out better if we're challenged and if we don't react the wrong way and instead use it as an opportunity to come up with better solutions.
Mm-hmm. I
No,
like that.
no problems, no business. I've never forgotten that statement. Mm-hmm. And over 5 decades, he was so right. There's always I've said to myself sometimes, it's amazing. I go to sleep at night and I wake up the next morning and I say, what is there that we have to fix today? What's different? What's changed overnight? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it never disappoints you. It's always something. It's our reaction to what happens that matters. That's right. I say to myself sometimes, when I get a little lazy or get a little upset and I get, maybe too ingrained in some of these issues, like how are we going to answer these phone calls? People are upset, rightfully so. We can't get them the product they want and deserve, blah, blah, blah. I remind myself, holding patterns are for air traffic, not business people. Right. We need to innovate. We need to go beyond what we normally do and create new energy sources, product, distribution of new products. Just thinking about this, Jeffrey, staff members, clients, ourselves. I think everyone's walking around today with an invisible sign. And that invisible sign, after what we've all been through, says this: please make me feel special. And I think that's our job. How do we innovate new ways, get past this, and make the outcome better than when we entered this problem? Mm-hmm. I think that's the secret, and we can do that. There is absolutely new resources that we're going to talk about, I'm sure, that if we implement them, will take us to a better place than before this crisis even hit.
That's right. And I really, in my decades of business, as you well know, I have seen that been the flow. And again, it takes the ability for minds to come together. And, I always remember the story between Henry Ford, Firestone, Edison. They were buddies. And there was a fourth one. I don't remember. It might have been Bell. But these were buddies. They were down in Florida at Edison's, mansion. And they would come together and solve each other's problems, from the rubber problem to the car problem to the phone problem. And it was because of those great minds, the mastermind group that got together. That's what Hair Loss University is all about. It's to bring the masterminds. You and I don't have all the answers, but we have enough history that when the young minds and those that are in the business come together, we can stimulate the new norm, the new model that we're going to talk about. And I think that's really what kind of excites me. That there's innovation happening like all over the world. I mean, because of the pandemic, there was so much more time for innovators to create new things. And you and I are going to talk about the new things that are coming out. But now the model has some challenges. Let's address some of the challenges. You said first, the supply, the workers, the delays. That's a given. It's been a given. It's getting a little bit better, but it's going to take a little bit more time to take care of backup. What used to be the alternate was, okay, if I can't get a custom goods, I'll get a pre-custom, but the shelves are empty in most cases. So it's taken away both of those resources. So we've got to find a solution for that as well. But in turn, our clients are going through the process of this pain as well. And we have to know how to educate them. And let me just give you an example. When we were all closed down during the pandemic, we have clients, like you know, have attached hair systems, extended wear. And we were going week after week, not knowing when they were going to open the doors again on us, as you know. We
Right.
then put all our efforts in putting production together for teaching every week and almost every day in the beginning the consumer on how to take care of this situation. And then eventually, when the time went 4, 5, 6, 8 weeks, we had to teach them how to take off their hair systems. We had
Well,
packages prepared that they could drive by and pick up, that they had all the things that they needed in it. And we would take them through step by step of how to take it off and then how to put it back on themselves, and then also how to take care of it during this long duration before we could recondition the hair systems as we typically do. That was an innovation. Well, the clients were so relieved. They didn't like it to the extent they'd rather come in and get pampered, as you can relate, but they were absolutely indebted to us because of that. Now, with clients where they're at today, with hair pieces that are, getting bald because they need new hair and it's not here yet, we have had to find other innovative ideas like putting patches on hair pieces, such as extensions where women have, maybe scratched their head or done the hair loss situation. So those are innovations that come out of this. But now, what do we do with the rising price? Because we were at a price point at 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that has gone up 2 to 3 advancement of pricing that now changes the model of the business. And what I said in my last episode is we can't give away our margin, because if you lose your margin, and you're a great businessman, I'm sure your dad told you the same thing, you lose your margin, you lose your business. So what do you think is going to take place in the future months ahead and year ahead in regards to this changing of the price point of where we're at today?
boy, that's such I've taken that in and listening so carefully to that. That was so educational in its own right, Jeffrey. But as I listened to you there, what you took your clients through was an educational process, of course. And what the vendors, manufacturers, and retailers have to do is get together and take all of us to a better place. Jeffrey, before I even get into what we're going to do to offset pricing, delays in delivery, lack of certain types of laces and particular products, which is prevalent right now, I just want to say the reason meetings like this matter and getting together and thinking these things out is that when you look at our industry overall, it's phenomenal. But the beauty making business is so incredible. What we do for people is so beyond belief, in my opinion. 5 decades, I love every minute I get up that I'm involved in this business. It's just incredible. But at the same time, when we pat ourselves on the back, we have to understand how very little of the market we've been able to penetrate.
Mm.
There's 320 million people in the United States. So before we pat on ourselves on the back, 160 million of those, by the time they're 50, need some type of hair restoration, whether it be intervention, regrowth, prevention, replacement, something. We've only managed, as an industry, Jeffrey, between prevention protocols, laser therapy, hair replacement, even hair transplants, we've penetrated about 13% of the potential market.
Wow, I didn't even know it was that low. That is amazing.
That low. It sounds a little bit like defeating, but at the same time, what an opportunity. Because
Yeah.
some of these new things we're going to talk about are the reason these people will be attracted to what we offer as specialists, as stylists, as beauty makers. And the vendors are going to be also forced to not be, and I think what's caused this is this, Jeffrey, and I think this younger generation of new beauty makers are going to change this format, hopefully. As good of a job as we did, I don't want to say we've done a horrible job. We've done a great job. But one of the things I think for the longest time has happened is instead of everybody adding to a visionary pot everybody's got their own paranoia about competition.
Yeah. Yes.
And that includes vendors.
Right.
And instead, if we got a better message out, if we got a bigger message out, I think this would happen. We don't have too much competition right now. We don't have enough customers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we can change that dilemma. So other than fix our products, let's fix our marketplace. Let's work together more efficiently between the vendors, the retailers, to get more penetration of the market. That's going to solve 90% of our problem to begin with.
Well said, really well said, Lance, because you just turned the mirror a little bit left or right that gave us the ability to see a little different angle. Instead of seeing that we have a lot of potential, let's say you gave us an exuberant amount of potential, 13% of 160 million. I didn't do the math fast enough, but that's not a big number. So in turn, there's a big number waiting for us to tap into. And
Yes.
it's interesting. You have had the experience, and this is kind of what's unique about your background, and I appreciate it because I've followed that same type of pattern. We've gone from beauty industry into hair replacement industry, extensions, into treatments, and even into surgery. And then from that point, we saw that panorama. But still today, go back to statistics, the majority of hair replacement specialists are doing mostly hair replacement.
Correct.
And most of them are doing, let's say, men's hair replacement, and there's some portion doing men and women, and some doing just women. Then you've got the group that are just doing extensions, and now you've had the whole new birth over the last 5 or 10 years of the trichology group. Tell me, what does the new professional hair replacement, hair management, hair loss management center look like in the modalities that they would provide?
Jeffrey, what a great question. And seriously, it's, to me, that shining light is so obvious. You're right. I think that one of the dilemmas why this crisis is so hurtful is because it's the only it's the only product source that too many of our retailers are involved in, which is strictly men's hair replacement.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they had a totality of business, and I know that you need to stretch to do that, but that's what this time calls for. It's time to stretch. It's time to marry disciplines, not keep them separated.
Right. That's a good word.
Trichology is a perfect marriage to hair restoration, because I think, don't we owe a client or the marketplace this specific formula?
Mm-hmm.
If you love your hair, we're going to help you keep it. If you've lost some, we're going to help you restore it. And if you lost all of it, then we'll replace it. What a wonderful thing to be able to say to people.
Really well said.
That to me is the formula of the future. Now, when you look at your business, can you answer yes to all three of those scenarios? Can you help people keep their hair? Do you care about helping restore their hair or just replace their hair? Mm-hmm. As professionals, we know the answer. We have to step up, expand our offerings, and guess what? We're going to expand our joy and our business success. Instead of waiting for one supply chain that may take, we can discuss, and I've got an inside track because I've worked for some of the best vendors in the world. I've been very fortunate. They're all phenomenal. Right now, I work with John Renault, as you said. They are internally, I promise you, looking at things on how to make this better. They do not like this dilemma. They want to be viewed as great partners. So they haven't gone dark, I promise you. They're innovating like crazy. They're coming out with new products. They're coming out with new ideas, new education. But retailers need to expand their breadth. Mm-hmm. To just sit and wait for the hair replacement men's business to get better, there's no telling how much of that's going to get restored to what we call normal. Mm-hmm. And like you said earlier, so in that process, if that's all you do, you've got to redirect your programs. You've got to have different flexibility as far as what products you're going to sell them based on how much longevity you need. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And all those kind of things. But if we expand and say, wow, I can triple my marketplace and I can bring new excitement to my business. Jeffrey, I always said, when I had my staff, we look at our staff sometimes as one of our resources. When we think about it, they're our only resource.
Right.
When I remember working in a styling room, I'd say to myself, God, there's got to be something exciting for me to learn today, because if I don't learn something new, this 8 by 10 styling room starts to resemble a cell without bars. We've got to excite our people so
Right.
they can excite our clients.
Mm-hmm.
It,
Mm-hmm.
and what better way to excite people than pull them into a meeting and say, guess what? We're not going to let this destroy us. You know why? If I do, I have to think about letting people go and cost cutting. Well, you know what? Cost cutting never gets you to where you need to go. Only innovation does.
That's
New
right.
ideas, new processes, new learning, and most importantly, new doing.
You just painted a picture, and I want to paint the picture really clear for the listening audience. Because when, let's say, somebody's been monochromatic and just doing men's hair replacement or women's hair replacement, they get locked in, or extensions, or whatever it is. But taking the two words that you use, and I've been writing down notes. Number one, partnership. Being able to partner with, let's say, a transplant doctor who doesn't do anything but transplant. Partnership right there is a referral relationship. You and I grew up on referral development of, salons, as well as the doctor's offices referring to us. Also, the relationship of the opening up of a practice of trichology. Trichology obviously is a part of, like you said, maintaining that hair. So they can start small. But if they don't have a model, a success path that we're setting up through the Hair Loss University, a success path to know how to build this process of success, they end up with a continuation of the same old, same old. And you know what Einstein said, do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. You're insane at that point. So what you're talking about takes education, and education not only for the business, but the technical and the marketing, because it's a whole nother marketing venue at that point. You gave us like wonderful, do you want to save your hair? Do you want to replace your hair? So it takes another full spectrum of rebuilding the relationship of this business as we know it from the past. Maybe we're living it in the present, but going into the future as well.
Jeffrey, so well said. You can't view it as a threat. You know, change is going to happen.
That's right.
So, how do we embrace it? How do we empower ourselves because of it? And to me, that's always been, if someone said to me, what's been your success gene in this industry? Why have you stayed in it so long? I said, well, I think there is such a thing as a success gene.
Marketing, Lance, is so important. We need to get another messaging going with this new view of a model of the hair replacement, hair restoration, hair loss management business. What would you say the messaging is necessary? You said it a little earlier, but let's piece it apart that represents the broadening of our base, of our clientele, as well as our services.
Well, I think it's, Jeffrey, kind of putting a joyous spin during a dark time means, how do we think this out? If we're only doing, from a marketing perspective, if we're only doing hair replacement, whether it be for men or women or both, our messaging is not really very expanded. It has to be in that wheelhouse, obviously. And you can get creative on how you do that, but still it's limited. Now, if we expand our marketing to, you love your hair? Wonderful. We're beauty makers. We love it too, and we're going to help you keep it, and we're going to help you beautify it. If it's thinning or you're losing it, why shouldn't we help you restore it? We can do that as well. Now, if you've lost it, we can help you replace it with the best technology. Now we've expanded our own offerings. We've expanded our potential in our business just by what we said. We have to offer those things. But isn't that what we should be looking at? Think about it. Right now, of those three components, if you're only in the hair replacement business, you can only talk about number three.
That's right.
Why would you want to start at three?
Yes. And the medical community has the same issue. There's doctors that only do transplants, and they're limited to someone who is thinning and are not ready for surgery yet, or getting ready for surgery, or after surgery. They can't service them unless they have a partnership and relationship of someone who has a trichology modality or practice in their business. So this can build upon what we've been kind of teasing our audience with, Lance, is we're building for them a workshop that's going to be coming up free, Once we gather all the Lances and all the other information in the world globe of hair addition and hair loss management, we're putting together a success plan, a flowing success plan. How do you go from I'm just doing hair replacement or I'm doing just beauty and extensions? How do you flow into the fullness of the future professional hair management and hair loss business? And I think that's where we've never gotten to that point in the industry of education. You know, I've been in education like you forever, but we've never gotten to that extent to be able to help our alumni and our co-professionals come together, have a mastermind group, but also then put it down so that they can follow a map to success. No matter wherever they come in at it, even those that are veterans out there can change a little bit of where they're at to grow with the new future that we have in front of us. Do you agree?
You know, I do, Jeffrey. And if we think about it, we know what the blowback will be because we're spoiled in our industry.
Yep.
We've been blessed in the hair replacement industry. For the most part, there hasn't been these issues we've talked about today. There's been plenty of customers, even though we've got a small part of the marketplace. For us individually, it was enough to earn a great living. Things have changed. Now, when you think about it, why do we even have to talk about disruption flow when you love your hair will help you keep it? That means dressing the hair, cutting the hair, beautifying the hair, treating the hair. We're going to restore it. We're going to give you a laser. We're going to give you some Propecia or whatever else it is we sell as a studio. And guess what? Both of those new business models, if they're new to someone, because there are people that do this, obviously, there are retailers that accompany all of this, but not enough. And those two business models have no disruption problems right now. Why would you not want to be involved in that? It brings excitement to your store. It makes the phone ring. It makes you more complete as an artist, more professional. What's worse than trying to do illusion styling?
The day of the comb over. The day of the comb over, yes.
There's nothing worse than that. Yeah. We don't have to do that. We can give people professional, sound, really good advice and help them through this journey. And at the same time, get away from some of this disruption on just one part of what we do. Right. And guess what? It's going to bring excitement to the whole salon. Now the stylists see more people. They see the excitement. They're seeing these treatments happen. Your own customers will say, what are you doing? We're doing what we need to do. We're expanding our business. We're helping our customers in a better way. That's our business.
If you find interviews like this helpful, follow our channel by clicking the like button on this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a thing. Make sure to also click the bell button to be notified every time that we go live or publish a new episode.